30th season of IPL. The IPL is just 7 days away and we are counting down to the biggest T20 tournament of the world. Now, Australia has become the #1 T20 side in the ICC rankings that happened after their series with England. To talk about their #1 ranking and how many of these Australian players are going to feature in the IPL, we are joined by Rohan Gavaskar this morning. Very much for joining us on the broadcast. Do tell us about this, win of Australia, them scaling the peak in T20 rankings. Is it a consolation prize for them or a gratification given that they are coming back after a long layoff?
Well, no, I think, look, that would have been the sort of thing that they would have wanted, the result that they would have wanted, to be the #1 side of a particular format in the world. Speaks volumes about the potential and the skill levels of a team. So Australia would have definitely wanted that. And look, real fans of cricket know that being #1 in international cricket is what counts.
Like Rohan, this has been the year of the pandemic. Teams have not played cricket for 6 months, so to come back and scale the top of the T20 rankings must be huge for Australia.
Absolutely, because look, they were playing away from home, so it's different conditions as they would have expected in Australia, or they would have prepared for in Australia. They would have got to England, a little while earlier, would have prepared, but it's still not the same. And if you look at the 3-match series that did happen, even in the first T20, Australia, out of the 40 overs that were played, I thought Australia were the better side for about 35 overs. It's only in the last 5 overs of that T20 where they lost the plot, some careless batting, overconfidence maybe, and they ended up losing the game. So in hindsight, they'd look at those 5 overs and say, listen, we definitely could have done better. We definitely could have put our heads down, played a bit more sensible cricket. And if they'd done so, then they would have won the series as well. But fortunately for England, unfortunately for Australia, that was not to be.
Rohan, you see, for Australia, the top order has never been a worry. What has been their worry is the middle order and the lower middle order. Do you think after this series they would have had an idea as to what that would be going ahead, given that the ICC World T20 also happens next year?
Yeah, look, I think they'll have a fair idea in their head as to who they would want to pick for the T20 World Cup coming up. Say someone like Marcus Stoinis. I mean, if you look at his numbers, he's done really well as an opener when he plays in the power play. His numbers when he bats lower down the order aren't as good as his numbers when he bats up the order or he bats in the power play. So that's something they'd look at. But then when you've got openers like Aaron Finch and David Warner, it's really, really tough to sort of break that partnership up for, say, someone like Marcus Stoinis. But I'm pretty sure they will have an idea as to what their, well, if they're going to pick about 15 players for the World Cup coming up, they'll have a fair idea as to who their 12 players are, 12, 13 players are. 1 or 2 players may be up for debate, but 12 or 13 will be absolute certainties in the selectors' minds by now.
Rohan, talking about one of the most exciting talent in this side, Glenn Maxwell, he has not played any cricket since October 2019. This was his return. Now, the way you saw him in the tournament, do you think that he's ready for the IPL? The reason I'm asking you is because fans would be waiting to hear that.
Well, I don't think, from what we saw of Glenn Maxwell, I don't think he... well, look, is the type of cricket he plays. He's always been the sort of player who bats in 4th gear, 5th gear in T20 games. And that was the case in this series as well. I don't think it came off for him. He didn't really have a good series in the first T20 that I was speaking about. When they lost, they played a few reckless shots, and his was one of them. He didn't really need to sort of play an aggressive shot. All he had to do was sort of nudge the ball for 1s and 2s, get his eye in, and then maybe after he's got his eye in and taken his team closer to the target, he could have played a few more expansive shots, but he didn't do that. So look, but he is an extremely talented player. We know what he's capable of. We've seen that in the past. But like you said, I just think he needs to maybe, play according to the situation. Let me put it that way. The situation in that first T20 didn't demand him to be overly aggressive. So maybe he can just temper down his aggression if the situation demands.
Maybe he's saving his best for the IPL. But talking about another exciting talent who really set the stage on fire during the series was David Malan, #1 T20 batsman in the world, but he will not be featuring in the #1 T20 league IPL. Would you say that is an irony or signs of time, or the sign of times when cricket is driven by commerce?
No, look, I think most teams in the world would want to have a player like David Malan, especially in the kind of form that he is in at the moment. He's batting beautifully. He's striking it well. Comes at #3. The way he paces his innings is amazing. If you look at that sort of the cumulative numbers that they talk about, when you sort of add the average and the strike rate, he's right up there. I think his cumulative on that is about 200, and they say about 175 is a good number to be at. Average comes strike rate, and I think he's close to 200 in that statistic. So he's batting like a dream at the moment. He's probably in the form of his life, and like you said, #1 T20 batsman in the world. Most teams would want to have him in their side.
Rohan, how do the ODIs shape up from here, given that the one-days have been a very exciting contest? The T20s have been very exciting. Australia could have won, but they lost the first two T20s, and they went on to win the final one.
Well, look, again, I think it'll be a really exciting series. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind. You've got the world champions in England up against Australia, that traditional rivalry that's always been there. I know Ashes is reserved, for Test cricket, but that rivalry between two nations, in a sense, founders of international cricket. This is the kind of cricket that real fans, die to watch. The purists, the rivalry, the intense rivalry. So look, the series is shaping up nicely. I think Australia will be looking forward to sort of at least win the ODIs, since they didn't win the T20s, and they should have won the T20s, to be honest. So they'll be hurting from that. They'll be looking to get one over England, and I'm extremely looking forward to seeing what the one-days hold, because I think it's going to be one hell of a series.
But big worry over Owen Morgan, given that he has a finger injury. We still don't know whether he will be available for the series, and then going ahead in the IPL.
I think it will. I think Owen Morgan has been such an integral part of this England side, not just as a player. I mean, as a player over the last 2 years, the way he's changed his game and become a bit more of a risk taker. The number of sixes he hits, and effortlessly. Plus his leadership skills, his captaincy skills will be missed. So in case he doesn't play, yes, I think it will affect the balance of the English side. But look, they are the world champions. They've got depth. Let's not forget in the last T20 series, Ben Stokes didn't play. They rested Joss Butler for the last T20. So they've got plenty of depth in white ball cricket at the moment, England.
Right. And one final question before I let you go. 17 players from this series will be appearing in the IPL. They must be really keen on hopping onto that flight to Dubai. How difficult will it be for them to keep focus on a 3-match ODI series, given that IPL is just around the corner?
No, I think for a lot of people, I mean, you speak to someone like Virat Kohli, he's always said, one of the all-time greats of the game. Virat said that, look, for him, Test cricket is the ultimate. International cricket is what it's at. So look, for a lot of players, international cricket is where it's at. So, and these are professional players. Let's not forget, these are professional players. They'll be, we know that these guys can switch on and switch off. They'll be fully focused on what they're doing at the moment. I mean, that's one of the things that they tell you. Listen, focus on what's on hand. Forget about what's coming tomorrow. Forget about what's coming day after, and definitely forget about what's gone on in the past. Because if you've had a bad performance in the past, forget about it. Keep a clear head and focus on the here and now. And that's what these players will be doing. They'll be focusing on the here and now. They'll be focusing on this series against England and Australia, and then looking forward to the future games that they have.